YouTube channel near you.
Welcome, everybody. Hello, Jennifer. How are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you, Mr. Chris?
Oh, wonderful. Welcome, Kathy A. Everybody's sliding in tonight on this cold Friday evening. Nice to see everybody. Lulu, Little Twisted, Living Purpose, also known as Mary. So this is part 2 of Alesha. So, yes, I dipped it in the fountain of youth. I know you're staring at me.
Pretty good.
I know. I even did my eyebrows.
I love it.
I know.
I tried to convince Chris to do the grooming of the facial hair thing, and I think it's once I'm gonna get by the summer I'm gonna get him using product and his beard and mustache.
Mary wants the white and some of the silver. I'm like, but yeah,
it's like hey, Little Twisted. All you have to, it's just highlights. It's all that's your story. You got your beard highlighted.
I know, right? Well, I look like a calico cat. I do. Angela and everybody's down there laughing. So Chris is rubbing his head. So yeah, thanks, Chris.
That looks good though.
Well, but yeah. So part 2 tonight. This is a really interesting case. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in for the first time, if you got a cold case or a missing person case that you want us to work on, or that was Mary laughing, take a look at, send it in to us, and we'll see what we can do. Maybe put it in line for the other shows coming above. So you got some more information. I see we're talking in the green room.
I have some more information on the case, and I have some more information about a separate case that might be related to the reason we're talking about this case.
The way that she,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So there is something that happened at the end of 2024 that I was going to mention after we talk to everyone. It'd be very interesting to people.
Yes. Lulu says matching eyebrows. Watch this, Lulu. I'll do it again for Jennifer. Watch. Mary doesn't know what I'm doing. I can see you on this one. She says she can see me. Yeah. Anyways, Kelly Joan, everybody, Chris is rubbing his forehead. He's like, good God. Dueling eyebrows. Anyways,
one at a time. You do them one at a time?
Pick first because everybody's laughing.
Can you do one at a time? Like raise one then the other?
Craig, I don't see you down there. Click on the link in the chat. So go back in the chat and click on that link, and we'll go ahead and bring up Angela since she's dying laughing in the background. Go ahead, Angela.
Angela might have some home filmed squirrel videos for you too.
I know, right? Well, I look funny because when I did it, I didn't do my eyebrows at first, and I was like, man, I look wicked. So I had to go back and do it. Go ahead, Angela. We'll start with you, dear.
All right. So I looked at her photo, Alesha. I'm just looking at her phone and have no other information other than the photo and the first name, Alesha. So the very first thing that I got the impression of, first images I saw her screaming, and she was inside of a truck. And looks like she was banging on the glass, trying to get out. And she was trying to get somebody's attention. And the man was driving at a very high rate of speed. There's a male driving the vehicle. And she was communicating head pain to me. So I felt her presence very strong, and I felt severe head pain. And I asked her, were you shot in the head? Because where I felt it was like right here. It was just worse right here than it was anywhere else. And actually I turned on a spirit box on and actually heard her voice come through, and her words, he beat me. He beat me. And the other images I got was, I kept seeing the big truck. I saw a barn. I saw a field. I saw a stream. And I saw mud. I saw lots of mud. And I had asked her if there was mud around her or near her, and she said there was a lot of mud. And the runes I was getting, I got Nadi's reversed. So Nadi's is the rune of basic necessities, and it's also love. So if it's upside down, it means that there's a partnership that has broken, and that broken relationship is actually gone rapidly south. It's deteriorating extremely fast. And I got Ingwans. So Ingwans is the rune of a male. It's fertility, but it's also could be a partner. It also could be a parent, a male parent, father. And the last rune I got was which is death. I got the impression of death. She also kept saying to me, she said through the spirit box, for some reason, she said the word falling.
Phone?
I didn't know what that meant. She did not explain what that meant. And I asked, and then I started.
Yes. Said phone, telephone? Okay.
Not phone, but falling, like falling over something. Falling.
Okay.
She gave me the word falling, and she was coming through very strong with me. I could hear her voice through the spirit box, and she was answering questions to me. And I also got the rune Ewas, which means relationship. So she was showing at the beginning of a good relationship and how it was really good. And she said, she came on and said, he loved me. And I got the impression of children, that children were everything. I felt like she loved children. And there was also an issue with money. So I got the journey reversed. So it started out good, and then it went really bad really quickly with a relationship. And I kept seeing money coming up again, the abuse of money, misuse of funds. And I got that things got very chaotic very quickly. I saw like something like money being misspent, like in fraudulent or in schemes or things like that, getting wrapped up into that caused a lot of chaos with the fraud. And she was upset and feeling trapped. And I could hear her saying, we can't live like this, can't live like this. And I asked her about the abuse of money, and it got chaotic. She answered, I got her note here. She said, yes. And yes, ma'am is actually her exact words when I asked her about money. It says, was this some money related to abuse of money in the relationship? She said, yes, ma'am. Very loud and clear. And she was showing me muddy ground again, and something about her. When I looked into her eyes, I heard her say, "He's going to get caught." So I repeated that to her. "He's going to get caught." And she said, "I hope." And then I said, "Was there a farm in the vicinity?" And she said, "Neighbors." That was, and then she said, "Sure did. Sure did." So there was something about a farm or farmland that she was referring to. And it's okay. And I'm taking a look here at the rest of my notes to see if she said anything else in regard to that. Okay, and I got, she also said, "Please, please." She is really wanting him to be caught. I asked her about moving on, and she does not. She does not want to go until this is solved. Okay. But I do have that this is a man that she had a relationship with, and there was abuse of money involved. And I also got the word control. Control. So he wanted to control all the money, and he was irresponsible with it.
Okay.
And that's what I have.
All right. Grizz, you're muted.
I said, thank you, Angela, and we'll bring you right back, dear. Thank you. All right, next up, Kelly Jo. Come on down, dear. How you doing?
Oh, good. First thing I got was head and neck, crime of passion, a violent, torturous death. And in a truck, like Angela said, and this guy's huge. He's like 6'5". Crime of passion, and she was beat all over before she died and tortured. And I hear fallow ground. So she kept saying fallow. Fallow, I guess.
Fallow ground. Okay. What does that mean?
No, I have to Google that one.
I'm going to look that one up too. What's going to see?
Okay, great.
She kept
Stand
saying
by, Kelly.
over and over.
I wonder if that's a street or something. Angela, what does that mean?
Fallow ground is an agricultural term. It means farmland that has not been plowed.
Oh, that makes sense. Jennifer, that makes plenty of sense.
Yeah.
All right, we'll bring you both back. All right, thank you, Kelly Jo. Thank you, Angela. Yeah, because that does make sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to elaborate on it, but Christopher, are you ready? He's nodding. Welcome, Christopher. How you doing there, buddy?
Good. How you doing, Grizzly?
Yeah, Kelly. Doing good, kind sir. So what'd you come up with?
Well, for my work, I'm going to read this off. Okay, here we go. So, of course, I do remote viewing, and I did remote viewing for this case, and it was kind of interesting because I I picked up on numerous things. I'll read off what I got here. I picked up, first of all, she was kind, smart, and intelligent, and I felt like she had kids, but I couldn't tell how many. I didn't dig too deep into that. She had a sister. I kept hearing the word sister throughout my work. Throughout the whole case, I was getting sister that had something to do with this. Not in a bad way. It was like she wanted her sister to know something. I felt like as I was going on that she met somebody, and also got that she was being threatened by him for things that went bad. And I at first couldn't tell what it was, but as I continued on, something about what he wanted her to do, and she wouldn't follow through with it, and she didn't feel comfortable with his demands. I felt that very clear, and she was scared, and I also felt like that she wouldn't tell her family that there were threats that he was making towards her and her family if she told anybody what was going on, and something about a deal that had been made. and I felt like that she was she sent something about a text message that she had sent to I don't know if it was a friend or a family member that more or less was saying, it was like giving a clue that something was going on, and she knew she knew that she was going to like pass away, or that she wasn't going to make it, because she had that feeling, and she knew how the hold he had over her. And I keep thinking that maybe he was older than she was. And there might have been other men involved, but I don't think she met the other guys. I think he kept those gentlemen, I don't want to say hidden, but they didn't come around until it was time for them to do their job, whatever that meant. He continually made demands and possibly stalked her, even like he would like keep an eye on her. And I kept coming back to her sister. She kept wanting to get her message to her sister, but I couldn't tell what that was. It was like my work. I couldn't get an answer, but she was in her. I kept thinking she was in her mid-40s, and I'm pretty sure he was older than she was. And when I tried to get a view of him, brown hair, a small mustache and beard, but the beard and mustache I think was a lot like a light golden brown. He had jeans, belt with a belt buckle, and possibly a blue t-shirt. I don't know if it's blue or like maybe a light green, but it was image like a blue. I'm pretty sure a blue shirt. And she was she trusted him at first, and then I guess from what possibly he maybe took a liking to her, but he was driving a black Ford. I'm pretty sure it was a Ford pickup truck, and it wasn't brand new. I think I kept seeing like dirt on the sides of it, like maybe he went down dirt roads. And something went wrong between the two of them, and she didn't give him what he wanted, and she tried to escape. He made threats against her. This is putting everything together. He made threats against her and her family, and if she told anybody, that's it. Things were going to get very severe, very worse. And I kept hearing the word scattered, and I kept asking her, and I tried to figure out if her belongings were scattered, or maybe he got into the house and scattered stuff. But I kept hearing the word scattered and something about pieces. And I felt like when I tried to figure out like his past or his history, I felt like maybe he had been involved in crimes before. Maybe he had been warned, like you need to leave town or leave people alone. But I didn't go too far into what all he had done in the past. But I felt like they were together. She ended up not liking him because he was making too many demands, wanting too much. She tried to escape whatever this deal or situation was. And he said, if you tell anybody or anything, things are going to get worse. And I think they did. And I feel like him and possibly whoever the other people are that he ran around with, but she never really met them. I feel like they are the ones that took her and put it into her life. And I'm not sure where, but I kept hearing the word scattered, and so I'm thinking that scattered either meant her belongings or possibly her body. But it was very firm scattered. I got the word scattered a few times, and her sister, like she wants to get her sister a message, but her sister is okay. It's not her sister that's the problem. I think she wants to tell her sister something, and that's what I got.
Wow. Thank you, Christopher. Very interesting. Stand by. Interesting.
Very.
Next up, Craig with our Awakening Live's here. He's coming back, and here he is. Welcome, kind sir.
How are you guys?
Doing good. Nice to have you.
Nice to be here. So first I want to say I'm sorry to the family that is going through this. No one wants to go through this, and it wasn't a pretty picture. So I believe she was on the street with somebody living on the street. I get under a bridge. I feel that, I don't know if evidence was everywhere or in multiple places, but I feel that she may have been assaulted multiple ways. I believe it's almost like she got away, but then didn't. But they were searching. I believe she was found in a field or a wooded area. I believe the partner that she was with either made arrangements for something to happen that she wasn't okay with, and that's what kind of started the catalyst of the situation. I think the deal that the partner she was with made to others wasn't consensual, and I think that's what she was running from. I believe I don't know if there's cameras of her, but I think there's ways to know where she was or where she was going. Sorry guys, I'm just going through it in my head again. I don't know if there was different body parts in different multiple areas or if it was just evidence in different areas, but I see more than one area where this happened. I see a lot of fear in her and feeling unsafe and wishing she was almost back home again. I don't know what caused her to be on the street. I don't know if it was just heavy addiction or if it was something more to that. She definitely crying out to get that closure for the family. And I don't know. It's hard to picture what I see and seeing her picture, like two different things. And just, you couldn't tell it was her. I do see a vehicle involved. I see 3 vehicles involved, but don't know if she got away and got a ride or got a ride and then got another ride and then was picked up, and then that's when things went down. But I do see it as I wouldn't say addiction related, but a deal around addiction, around the getting or using of drugs. And it was a payment or nothing good. That's pretty much what I picked up.
Okay.
All right.
Really appreciate it, Craig. Stand by. We'll bring it right back, sir. All right. Next up from UK, Inbaal. Welcome, Inbaal.
Thank you. Good evening, guys. Sending lots of love for everybody in America that's affected by the disasters at the moment. I've got the picture of the person we're looking at. I didn't prepare anything in advance because I like for all of my responses to be live. So I'm going to switch my browsers around. You might see my eyes wandering because I'm looking at the picture at the same time. I work with the tarot, so I'm shuffling. And there is a lot of emotion coming. Yeah, tarot or no tarot, there's a lot of emotion coming in because when this person met the perpetrator that ended up taking their lives, she didn't know whether they were trustworthy or not. She went in blind. It was hope, and it was hope that didn't work out. And when the perpetrator turned on her, that was an absolute shock to her. She didn't expect that to happen, but I don't feel like it was somebody that she knew. It was just faith. She's been in a lot of risky situations before, and they turned out fine. So she thought this is just going to be another one. I feel like she was in very bad mental health condition anyway. And at first, herself and the perpetrator were amenable to each other. There was a little conversation, there was an exchange, there was even a little bit of affection. And then I'm going to ask, when did things turn bad? Things turned bad when the person tried to take her away from the point of meeting without her agreeing to it. So I feel like there might have been a kidnap or a non-consensual, forceful taking. I'm seeing there was a lot of conversations about a big truck. I'm seeing a big, smelly, noisy truck. So it would be either a truck from a model that was known for making a lot of smoke or a lot of noise, just sort of having the kind of engine that you would hear and you'd know what it is before it arrived. So I'm seeing that kind of truck, but I feel like by the time that the truck started going, she resisted being taken away, and so she was already attacked before the journey started. And I feel like she ended up quite far from where she started. Obviously, before we do the readings, we don't really know exactly what the story is. So I'm just sort of going on what I can see, but I don't know if she was discovered far away from where she should have been, or if there were any clues to her far away from where she should have been. And I'm seeing that there were two other people involved, but the main person that we're looking for was not just central, but also the biggest, the most dominant, with the most booming voice, whereas the two people that flank him, that are on either side, appear much smaller in stature, much fairer in complexion, much less attention grabbing. I feel like there's something about the weather at that time that really didn't suit her. So if it was something that happened in the dead of winter, and she would have had sort of peeling skin, I don't even know what I'm seeing there, but there was some kind of discomfort, physical discomfort, before even anything started. And so she was already a little bit mixed up, a little bit confused, which made her quite an acceptable target for attack, because for the attacker, it was, look, she's already a little bit mixed up and not focused on defending herself. So I'm going to ask whether more information will come to light with time, because I don't feel like the people that were involved are mostly even still around. I feel like I was saying that there's a main person and then two people that are kind of to the sides of it. And I feel like the main person might not be amongst the living already. So the main person could give us no more information. And out of the two smaller people, we've got one that is there's no traces of, and one who is still a part of society, but perhaps a part of society that's not entirely communicative, and can't really sort of give any information, either somebody who is mentally very immature and or not able to remember. So the new clues that could come are not going to come via evidence. However, I feel like new clues can be found in an agricultural area. I feel, I don't even know what to call it. Is it like a bog? When a body, when a person can be hidden under vegetation in a way that's very, very hard to discover, but not impossible. I feel like if she is still missing, she can be found in an agricultural area. And I feel like there have already been searches in the correct area, just not in the correct spot. So that's what I've got with this one. I don't know if it fits with everybody else's, but
It does. But I have a question for you before I ask. You made a comment, and I've kind of wondered about this. In your opinion, is it possible that she was using herself to make money?
I feel so. If I can be entirely upfront about what I'm seeing, because I know that we were sort of dancing around the idea of sort of external and internal injuries and addiction. I feel like she was certainly self-medicated in some or another way, and that connects to the discombobulation that she was feeling. And I feel like there could have been an exchange of, body for commerce. But I feel like in this specific situation, it might have not even got that far, that it's that was part of her business, part of her trade. But in this particular attack, I feel like it's very possible that she was attacked, that the attack was the deal, that the attack was the perpetrator's intent in the first place, as opposed to a transaction that has gone wrong. I feel like in the mind of the attacker, that was the transaction. Do you know what I mean? A bit like the Ripper back in London, who went and on purpose targeted women who sold their body because it was a victim who is less likely to have people search for them, or a victim who was less likely to speak up about them. So I feel like, yes, but in this case, there might have been an attack before there was even any kind of internal assault.
Is it possible, because I'm getting feedback behind the scenes from other people on the board, agreeing with what you're saying. Is it possible, from what we're seeing, that this was something that was pre-arranged and set up for this event to happen?
I feel like this is something that was part of a transaction. Yes. I feel like it's something that was prearranged, but was not prearranged to go that far wrong. I feel like something did go out of hand, that it was planned, but not all the details of the plan worked out. I don't feel that she was necessarily supposed to end up where she did. I feel like she was supposed to either be frightened into something, or that it was some kind of a fetishistic attack where for the attacker, the excitement was in getting somebody very, very close to losing their lives. I feel like there's a lot of layers there, and the difficulty in hitting the exact circumstances is because I feel like none of us are part of those specific communities, so we might not be aware of like the full rainbow of expectations and possibilities inside transactions like that. But I agree. I feel like there was a pre-planned element to it. It's just that for her, I feel like it was a big shock, which was the first thing that I was picking up on.
Okay. Well, thank you. Stand by. We'll bring you right back. Awesome. Thank you very much. Well, with everybody agreeing with her and on the board, it leads to be that there's other possibly circumstances, because when let's go ahead and open up the case. So what do we know about the case?
All right. So the woman's name is Alesha Reade. She was 45 when she passed, mother of 8, grandmother of 5. She was last heard from February 9, 2021. She had in south of Kansas City, Independence, Missouri, which is like a subdivision. She had left her sister a voicemail, and her, hindsight, her sister said she was very frightened. 2 days later, it was extremely cold. At that point in that area, they found her dismembered body around a creek bed, to the point where they didn't even really know. They didn't know who it was at first. They had to use a few ways to identify who she was. I can play a short video if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and cue it up. And another thing, though, too, to note is that how some of the remains was found in a nearby field. And we don't know if it was planted there, or, ladies and gentlemen, if it was carried by animals, because you know how animals, unfortunately, on human remains or leftovers of dead carcasses of hit and runs of animals on the side of the road. So, but they were very reluctant on releasing the police or the news media about certain facts of this case.
Yep, and I haven't found anything on it. Here's what we got so far.
10th, 2021. She was 45 years old. Her case is the subject of tonight's KC Unsolved.
When Clay County investigators found Alesha Reade's body through a thicket of brush out here down a creek bed, they didn't know who it was. They eventually found her remains scattered in 3 different locations across miles. That in itself haunts her family and the detectives who saw the aftermath firsthand.
Love you, my favorite sister in our world. You're beautiful. I love you.
She didn't deserve to have her life taken like that. We didn't deserve what we're left with.
What Alesha's sister, Carrie, and sister-in-law, Melissa, were left with was a death certificate they can't unsee.
Dismemberment and assault by other/others. That's what her death certificate said.
Alesha was 45, Carrie's little sister.
I used to be the one to protect her as we got older. She was protective of me because of her living on the streets and just living the life that she lived.
Carrie now replays voicemails that remind her of Alesha's sweet and loving spirit.
Happy Mother's Day. I love you, sissy.
Alesha never got to see her son get accepted to law school.
I think she'd be excited to know that.
Yeah, she'd be proud.
She has grandchildren who barely got to know her.
She meant so much to me.
This is the Alesha's case file right here.
9 thick binders with more than 15 search warrants, more than 25 phone orders, and hundreds of follow-up reports.
314 plus supplemental reports.
Sergeant Chris Johnson supervises the criminal investigation unit for the Clay County Sheriff's Office. That night, he was the first investigator on scene.
I remember it vividly. I remember where I was driving to when I got the call.
A person who was out walking saw what they thought was remains. When Johnson got a closer look, it was clear they were human and hadn't been there long.
I know what her condition was, and how she was left. And nobody should ever have to be treated that way.
It was dark out there in the country.
We worked that evening with the aid of flashlights.
They put out a metro-wide call for missing persons reports, then went back the next day and the next. It was bitter cold as they worked 16-hour days, expanding to 3 square miles of evidence collection. On day 2, they found a missing persons report from Independence, a woman last seen at this gas station. The remains they found had a tattoo. Alesha's family confirmed that's her. They checked surveillance at the gas station. She was there 1 day before her remains were found. Her face and her voice in the video revealed fear.
I don't know that I'll ever get that voice out of my head.
Investigators have a solid idea of what happened that night, but they need someone who knows for sure to bring it full circle. Johnson knows he'll always have open cases, but this one, it's like an open wound.
1,148 days since this occurred. They think they got away with it, but I want them to know that they haven't got away with it.
Just imagine yourself in our situation and how horrible it is to live with. We want answers and we want justice so we can put it behind us.
For KC Unsolved, Betsy Webster, KCTV 5 News.
What's interesting, ladies and gentlemen, is several things. Number one is how he said they, and we talked about this on the first show. They reference that he knows that the people that are probably responsible for this horrific crime indicates that they probably do know the suspects. Number two, we don't know about the scattered remains out in the field because they didn't say about how they got out there, because anytime that there's remains out in the field, there's some kind of forensic evidence that's left, whether it's tire impressions, footprints, however somebody was out there to dispose of it. Usually there's trace evidence of something, or animals, usually something of some sort, but it was tight lip. That's what we discussed in the first case. Tight lip about the wounds on the body, what was done to it, because the way that they talked about it, Jennifer, was strange, wasn't it?
It was. Would you like to know what I found?
Yes.
We were talking last time, it's every area's got their own kind of crime that they deal with, right? And that had been mentioned, which is something that I don't deal with where I'm at, is that there are certain gangs, organized gangs, that this is what they do, right? News to me, and that's sad I had to even learn that. So this Independence is near Kansas City, Missouri. On Thursday, August 24th, 2023, 3 armed street gangs engaged in violence, drug trafficking. 3 leaders and 6 members of a confederation of 3 street gangs in the Kansas City metropolitan area have been indicted by a federal grand jury for their roles in an ongoing criminal enterprise that involved armed violence, including murder and conspiracy, drive-by shootings, illegal drug trafficking.
Interesting, because during the first show, you talked about how did this span to 3 states. So, and that's what I was saying. What other crimes or other leads does this tie into, or what is she affiliated with, or the suspects for this to tie into different states, right?
Right. So you wonder if the tight lip from this case is coming from, because that was 2 years before these people were indicted. I mean, it's speculation, obviously, but
yeah, everything at this point speculation, because they're not given any information. Because usually, when law enforcement talks about the remains, or they discuss the autopsy report, it indicates the bludgeoned to death, severely beaten, stab wounds, how many times, fractured bones, all that. And this was not anywhere near that. It was just like found a body severed or dismembered, right? And it was then scattered between here and there. That's it.
So these gangs are drug trafficking, several different kinds of those things, conspiracy to murder, murders, assaults, robbery. I mean, it was three of the gangs in the area. So then, I don't know. You wonder if that's the tight lip, the reason.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
That was my eyebrow lifter. I mean, being on the street, she said she kept her family kind of at a distance because she didn't want them involved with the things she got herself into because of the way she chose to leave.
There was no background history on her like others, right? Like she was out at the bars all the time. She was doing this. It's like the family in the town's tight lip. Like nobody's speaking about it. Let me bring everybody on. So, and that's what is really strange is that there's nobody talking about this case at all.
Right. And I even went on their Facebook Justice for Alesha, and there's no posts other than I miss my sister. I miss my sister. Please help us find her. If you can, I mean, there's nothing other than she was a loving grandmother, mother. We missed her. They're not saying anything.
You want to know why?
Sounds like a lot of fear.
That is correct. Fear of speaking out because they know who's probably involved and they don't want to be involved or get hurt or whatever. Yeah. Good night, John. Craig's absolutely right. And, I mean, anytime that we see any type of crime, and I'm not disrespecting her friends or family or grandchildren or anything like this, but anytime there's a crime involved, how does the family and friends portray them? Oh, they're the best grandson, the best daughter. You remember, even on shootings or DLC transactions, unfortunately, we make poor choices and bad decisions in life. And sometimes you can be the, what do you call it? When you're in your environment, it's just, you're the person of your environment. And I don't know how to say it. There's a term for it. Yeah.
Product of your environment.
Product of your environment. There you go. And sometimes that influences a lot. And it's hard to get out of that mindset or out of that box, especially if you're trapped and if you have addictions or not, because it's really hard. It seems like she has a loving, wonderful family. However, it may be with bad decisions and poor choices. Nobody deserves to be treated like that. And I think they do need to be brought to justice. Absolutely.
Right.
So, it should have been passed around to the different gangs, and that's where multiple people come in play here?
Well, we're not saying that there's any gang activity involved, right? We don't know.
No, it's just a speculation because there are what you were saying. People were saying last time that there are gangs that have a signature way of sending a message by this type of murder, but we don't know for sure at all. The police have never said it was. This is just all who does this kind of thing, because like you guys were saying, crime of passion, right? It's just another angle.
Yeah, because that's the problem. They're not the police or the news media is not leaking out any information of any possibilities or theories or anything. It's just like, okay, we found a body, it's been dismemberment, and here's the locations, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And the police say, we heard it on the video, they think they got away with it, and they are wrong. Well, who are they? So it tells me that they are working on a bigger case possibility. It ties into, like Jennifer said, 3 other states, and it could be an organized crime ring or something else that's whatever related.
And that indictment that I read was federal court.
And a federal case can expand across state lines. That's why it's not local.
It does kind of make sense because I was picking up on the fact that maybe he had other crimes, maybe that he was hiding or hadn't mentioned.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, and I greatly appreciate it. And hopefully something comes up. And if you know anything, contact your local police department and contact the FBI. Jennifer, anything else you want to add?
No, thank you guys for watching.
And thank you guys. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen on the board. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good job.
Coming to a YouTube channel near you.